go. Preparing live stream.
All right.
It's like everybody I was driving behind this morning. It is so slow. My goodness. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark here from Influence Builder. And we are here in the Influencer and Creator Opportunities group. And if you guys are watching and you're not in the Facebook group, it's because we did a replay and a live stream into other platforms. So thank you for joining us and watching us. But I do like to be clear and set expectations that if you're not in the group, it's okay. And you're seeing this, nothing's wrong, I promise. So I wanted to just briefly introduce, because we have a lot of people that have come into our group. We have a lot of people that are watching on other platforms. And I want to introduce the two co-founders of Elify. And they have a fantastic product suite, but I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves. We have ER, which is, I think he's down here. It always shows differently. And then Guy, Tool, and I don't know which side you are. I never get it right. So I'm just going to point both ways. He's either on one or this side, and then ER is down here. So I hope you guys are okay with that introduction. And I'll let you guys go ahead and take over.
EROU.
You're gonna let me go ahead? Okay, great. So ER Wolf here with Elify. Guy and I are co-founders, and Elify really is a technology-first company, but we're also a big community focused on supporting the success of entrepreneurs, small business owners, work-at-home professionals, and pretty much anybody out there interacting with their prospective customers. We do this by simplifying and scaling down technology and making it accessible to everybody. And these are the technologies that are going to have some of the biggest impact in your business. So Guy, you know this, I know this. We've been doing this for about a decade now, and we're super excited because we're watching this grow as more and more people come onto the platform, understand the technologies, and put them into practice. So we're excited to talk with you today and share a little bit of that information.
What I love about it is that's a decade individually. So a lot of people talk about when you're partnered up. We're 2 decades here, right? We've been in and out of what this industry can look like. It really is the new age, new world of sharing what you know.
Yeah.
And how can you do that? And we believe we have a phenomenal product, service, opportunity here at Elify, and just excited to be able to continue to come on. You know, we do things 5 days a week within our community, our network here in Influence Builder, to be able to express what's available and allow people to come in and see what we have and hopefully partner with us.
Right.
Awesome, guys. And I have a few people that are trying to get into the group, so I'm just messaging, and I will tell everybody and just be fully transparent. I am doing a very bad job with multitasking today. So that's all right. We'll get through it. I know you guys will forgive me because I'm smiling while I'm doing it. So it's always forgivable when you're smiling. So thank you guys for talking about Elify. I did not know that you guys had 2 decades together of working together. That's amazing. And you guys can tell you really enjoy each other. You're definitely not sick of each other at all, are you?
Not at all.
Well, that's really rare. So, I mean, how many music bands do you know that can't even go that long together, right? And they all break up before then. So you guys are like the epitome of what partnership should look like. So we're really excited for today, guys. We're going to talk about how the marketing of old is meeting marketing of new and really utilizing the power of networking with new age technology, which Elify is definitely that new age technology. I've got my nice little tap cards, and I've been explaining this to everybody, and just like, these things are so cool. So that's my tap card. It's shaped just like a credit card. There's a nice little QR code in the back. And so what's really cool is that just like a credit card, you can tap it on a phone and you can have your contact information going in so that you don't have, oh, you do it up here. See, I haven't tried it yet in real person yet with a real person. So I got to play with it a little bit. But that's very innovative. And you know, it's been a minute since I've gone to an in-person networking event, but people are still passing out cards, like paper cards. And I always feel really bad for the trees because I'm like, man, there's definitely a better way. And so this is definitely the way that things are going to start happening with with networking. People are going to start using cards like this, and you guys even have innovation where you're putting it in like the buttons on the back of the phones, and that's really, can you guys just talk about that just for a second? Because I know we've got a lot of people that are interested in just the networking piece, but the technology is really amazing too.
Yeah, I think this is great, Danielle, because it talks about how we share information, right? You talked about old marketing versus new marketing. The old form of marketing is we shared a piece of paper. We just said, hey, here you go. Great to meet you. And then we left those people to go on their merry way, right? But we didn't realize that 90% of the time that card is getting thrown away, trashed. They're taking no action on it. So you actually have to hand out like 2,500 business cards to see a 2% uptick in your business, which to me is astounding, because if you look at it, how many of us are actually handing out 2,500 business cards and the energy required to do that to see that nominal uptick? Whereas what we're talking about with TAP, this is near field communication. So any device that comes, literally within centimeters of this, it's going to pop up a link on their phone. Now, when we talk about interacting with people, we want to lower the force of friction that it takes for them to move forward in the process with us. So if we give them a piece of paper, the force of friction is now they have to read the piece of paper, they have to pick up their device, they have to put in the thumb damage of typing in your phone number or your URL, and heaven forbid you've got a long company name or brand name that you want people to go to. Here, when you tap the information to the device, it's on it. You've taken them from offline to online in one transitional step by tapping their phone with the tap card. And now they can start to interact with you. They can learn who you are, what you do, what value you create, what problems you solve, and really how you're going to help them. And then there are all these things that can unfold from there, including ways to reshare what you've shared with them and refer you business and do all these other things. So very powerful technology. It's been around for just a minute. And really, again, going back to what Elify does, it's about scaling down and simplifying that technology and making it accessible to everybody. So to implement this in any business, I mean, it's a few clicks.
I mean, that's the whole purpose of this, right? Is we're talking technology. We're in the midst of a digital revolution, a digital expansion, and being able to, in networking, in marketing, and referring, if those are elements that we want to improve upon, we've got solutions that are really high tech, but they improve the high touch element. They improve building the rapport, the relationships, but it's all about seamlessly sharing information. People, the business card, it's been around for many years. And we know statistics of it. ER said 90% end up in the trash. 10 billion are printed a year. It's just a waste. And there's a lot of money that people are putting into that. But when you look at what companies are almost being forced into now, you talk about publicly traded companies, tier 1, tier 2 spending. They're having to make a green movement, a change. And this is a platform that allows for them to share the information out. If they're at a networking event, if they're at conventions, they're seamlessly sharing information about themselves, about their products, to hopefully gain more eyeballs, but to build rapport so someone knows, what, this person, they're on top of it. And potentially with them being on top of it, I can figure out how to do it as well. So I can seamlessly share the exact same type of information in the same means.
Wow. 2,500 freaking business cards. I mean, you might as well take the whole box and throw it into a crowd if you happen to be a speaker, and that's the only way they're going to pick it up. And you had to do a good job, by the way, if you're going to do that. So that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, in a regular networking communication, I mean, I just walking up to somebody and giving them a business card. And I remember I used to have my nice little cute business card holders, and I pull it out, then I had to scrunch it in there, and I'm sitting there trying to multitask, which again, today I'm not very good at it. But in a networking event, I'm even worse because I'm in public, I'm talking to a human being. And so you actually don't get that interaction. You spend more than just a few seconds trying to fumble around with a business card and then even reading it. Oh, it's the card. Oh, actually, you know what? I just changed my number. So here's my pen. Go ahead and cross out my pen and then write in the new. I mean, you guys know everybody knows what I'm talking about. It always happens.
Sure,
We've all
right?
done it, right?
Yep.
And so instead of that, how many seconds does it take to like use this on a phone and then it's done? Like we're talking maybe 10 seconds,
Less than that,
less than that.
literally is tapping it to it. It might take you 10 seconds to set this technology up so you can
Yeah.
implement it, and
Yeah.
1 second to start sharing it with people.
Yeah. And then you can actually have a real eye-to-eye conversation, which that is the way that humans connect.
Key.
I mean,
Know it.
they have to look in each other. It's not like lovingly or anything, but actually make the eye contact with even a stranger. And then you know that you've connected with them in some form so that they remember you. They can't remember you if you're like a hot mess trying to fumble around and put your business card. So I love that. And with this nice little remembrance of business cards and that, what was it like for the first time for you guys? Once you guys start marketing yourself, and I like to just do like a little look back on when we first remember that we had to market ourselves. What was the first time for both of you guys?
I think, I started thinking about this many years ago. And when I started marketing myself, I was a youth. I was a young boy. And I was taught by my parents how to introduce myself.
That's right.
You stand up, you look at the person in the eye, you give a firm handshake, you say your name, they say their name back, and you repeat their name back. You start building that first impression. You'd mentioned if someone's fumbling, trying to multitask, sharing information.
Yeah.
It's a first impression I'm making. Well, that's a lasting impression as well, because you might remember that person that fumbled around this whole time trying to introduce themselves. And I wanted to make sure that I continued that on through the rest of my life and prepared myself for those relationships, knowing that you have to build rapport. So I remember the person's name, I remember what they look like, and having that conversation, it's locked in my brain. As soon as I look them in the eye, shake their hands, repeat their name back to them. It happened. Like I can't specifically remember when it started happening, but I would say I was probably 4 or 5, and people would reply back to my parents like, "Wow, that's such a nice little gentleman you're raising." Those are the type of impressions that you want to continue to have or put upon yourself moving forward, I guess, in the rest of your life, and not knowing you're doing it at that time.
Yeah, Guy. I mean, we're mirror images of each other. It started out very young for me as well, right? Your parents would say, mind your P's and Q's, be polite, open the door, shake somebody's hand, state your name, get their name. There's an old quote, right? And it deals with marketing and branding, and marketing is asking somebody out on a date. So the first time I asked a girl out, you know what I mean? Or asked a guy out, that's marketing, right? And then the branding is why they're saying yes, right? So just as much of that marketing was that you were clean cut, put together and organized, right? You weren't fumbling around like Guy was saying. And then, it started to accelerate or improve when I first started my first business, going out there shoveling snow or mowing lawns as a young kid, and you're knocking door to door to get jobs, and you're presenting yourself and what you're going to do and how you're going to help them and show that you're creating value. That was all of that marketing. And then you just build on that and improve on that over time.
Yeah. Wow, really good. I was 4 too, by the way. And so my first, there was a couple of moments where I'm like, yeah, I guess it is marketing myself. So I started playing the piano at 4. Well, probably younger than that, but I started taking lessons at 4. And we had a rule of 5. So 5 times through to memorize a song, and then I had it. And so I had to play it well. So, and my piano teacher actually said, this is going to be a lot like how you remember people and their names. You need to say it 5 times through. So she actually taught me that as we were playing piano, and using that for when you meet people, you need to remember their name. So I started at 4. I was 4, and that has always stuck with me. And so I have a rule of 5 times memorizing. And so I'm able to recall people's names a lot better than I am able to recall numbers and math, Guy. That I'm not as good at in formulas, but people's names I can remember. But that's a big part of how I market. I market based on relationships. So I love that we all kind of have like that young child experience. It's very, very similar. How about that? That's interesting.
Yeah.
We just learned something new.
Yeah.
So I think that's great, but you know, it's changed a lot. I don't think I certainly haven't taught my kids. I've taught them the rule of five, but I haven't necessarily taught them about marketing themselves, even though I do marketing. How have you guys seen it change for how people are learning about marketing now?
I think it's a progression, right?
Mhm.
There's an old saying, again, I'm a saying quotes type of guy. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. But
Yep.
the reality in today's environment is the world is constantly changing. So
Mhm.
if you're always doing what you've always done, the true statement is you won't always get what you've always gotten. You have to look at new forms of marketing and new ways to get the word out there, and
Mhm.
I like to zoom back out and take that big macro point of view over time on how
Mhm.
stuff has changed, because technology as a whole has opened up a whole world of marketing opportunities for us, and this
Mhm.
works both offline and online, to a degree. When we think about technology, a lot of us think about the internet and online stuff, but even marketing over time. I didn't do this, but things like television and radio versus print, that
Mhm.
didn't, television and radio didn't always exist. It was mostly print marketing, right? Or your business
Right.
card marketing. And then it starts expanding over time. And I remember early 2000s, I was in college, and the internet, the dot-com bubble was happening, right? Early 2000s. And
Mhm.
I realized there's a whole marketplace that's opening up online. If I'm going to
Mhm.
date myself, but if you ever remember dial-up modems, right? You'd plug it in, downloading pictures and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Then it's like, whoa, there's access. There's people who are going online. There's e-commerce happening. We have to create information for them to be able to consume and deliver it to them where they're at. That's how the marketing, in
Yeah.
essence, changes. The channel of how we communicate changes.
Yep.
And now we live in a world where you'd almost spread yourself too thin trying to leverage every single channel that's out there. And
Yeah.
instead, if you become meaningfully specific on one channel or a group of specific channels, maybe you're a social influencer, maybe you're an author, or speaker, or coach, and you're on stage. These are all areas where we're marketing, two separate areas, but they're areas nonetheless. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen happen
Yeah.
over time and that I've implemented myself. A lot of door-to-door marketing when I'm shoveling snow and mowing lawns when I'm young turns
Yeah.
into a lot of online automated marketing when I'm in college. And what's crazy is the pendulum swings both ways, and you're really looking for that sweet spot right in the middle where it's the best of all worlds.
Yeah. That's a really good point too. So, I mean, door to door versus kind of, I mean, it's a different way of looking at it from door to door, but online marketing is kind of it can start with the individual and you can automate it, which is really great because you're still giving it like that high touch individual connection. And so it's just a little bit different. So so Guy, how have you seen it change over the years? Is it really similar to
Sometimes like being a student of our business and being a student of how business works, and
yeah.
how can we simplify them? Like a real world scenario is
Yeah.
a past life, late 90s. I'm an athlete.
Right.
I'm trying to market myself. I had to make my own film. I had to mail it to coaches to potentially start getting recruited. And, the ultimate goal is to have a scholarship.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward a few years and getting into the real world and becoming part of the financial service industry, I'm having to network with people, and I'm handing out business cards and flyers and trying to market myself as someone who has put in the time of understanding stocks and bonds and investment portfolios, and how I can help you to, I had millions of dollars I had millions of dollars of assets that I was helping people with the investment world. And then, 2007, 2008 hits, and I'm like, this is a different world. And, staying on top of this, I need to be able to start introducing my clientele to other people within the industry that I knew, liked, and trust, that I built relationships over those years. So I'm taking the time to send emails saying, would like to introduce you to this individual as potentially taking over your assets and supporting you in this relationship. Well, they had to, know the relationship between me and them, if it was worth it, if it's going to be worth it with this new individual, how that's going to work in a seamless way. And I think a lot of that was just a lot of the aha elements, because I'm doing the arduous work of making phone calls, of doing the emails, the in-person meetings, bringing them together to have those conversations, but saying, hey, there's got to just be a simpler way. And there's so many people out there, and I still think that they talk about concepts. Conceptually, this is what you should do. And that was our aha, is let's actually put actions. Let's put words into action. And create a platform that allows people for them to make seamless introductions, seamless marketing of whatever they're marketing themselves, their products, their services, and being able to say, you know what, I'm not only marketing myself, I'm marketing my marketing, I'm marketing my networking, and I'm marketing this referral as well. So I'm now able to have a platform. That's where we came up with it, is being able to have a platform for people to do this in a very, very seamless and simple way, but still know you have to implement, you have to do these types of things. Definition of insanity, Albert Einstein doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you want results, you have to do things in the way that people are doing things now. We can say it. Everyone is moved into the digital age, and it's not going away. It's only going to advance. They say that technology advances every year. It progresses every year more than it has the previous 10 years. So think about that. Every year it expands an additional 10 years in what has happened.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's a good stat. I'll try to remember that one, because I think that's going to be a good one to remember. So I'm going to say it in my head 5 times after I say this next thing. So, I think you're bringing up some really good points. We have like the marketing ways of old, which is, networking, referrals, like it's all word of mouth. So networking, referrals, meeting face to face. We've talked about that. You guys are talking about relationship building. And then the last piece, which is the piece that everybody misses, it's that genuine interest, right? It's put the business cards away, pull out your tap card so you can actually be genuine with your interest and give the people some time. But it's the follow through, it's the follow up. So I'm actually going to use your guys' master trainer, Kathy, as an example, because it's going to bridge this gap between the individual marketing and then the marketing of a business. And she does it so well. And it's really similar to how I like to market myself, but also market my company. And she does a lot of networking, in-person networking. She's got a lot of those pieces. And so she described this to me the other day, and I was like, that's genius. I'm like, I never even thought of it like that. But what she'll do is she'll bring a group of people together and they'll network, but she won't start with herself. She'll actually, well, you guys tell me what you do first. And then she'll go around the circle and she'll go last. And so she's shown that genuine interest. She's listening to what everybody else is doing. And then she lays it on what she does, which is that she works for this amazing software company, Elify, and she does a master training. And everyone's just like, wow. But because she did her part, and she showed that marketing herself is actually having everybody else market themselves first, and then she brings it into marketing the company that she works for. So I just think that's a brilliant way of doing that. And you guys actually have like that kind of networking behind the scenes with your Shuffle app. There's that ability to do that as well. There's ability to yes, sign up and join together, but also to network together in channels in the background. I don't even think we've talked about that, but I think that's a really great feature of what you guys are doing too.
Well, I think we hear it all the time. Anybody who's ever taken a marketing course, we know the strongest form of marketing, it's word of mouth marketing. In fact, Guy, if I was to confess right now, we spend more time fielding new referrals coming into us than we're out there going out and direct marketing ourselves. And I think it's just a progression, right? Eventually, you start fulfilling on your obligations. You complete your promises. You service your customers, and they turn into what we've heard so often as the raving fans, right? They're turning around and talking about you. And I think that plays hand in hand with developing a genuine interest with those people who you're meeting, whether they come through your traditional outbound marketing or whether they're coming in through a referral. You're still trying to understand who they are, what they do, what their problems are, so that you can position yourself, your brand, your product, your service to be a solution provider to those problems. And I think to your point, Kathy does that so well. And Guy, you've always said, and I maybe steal your thunder here, but we've got two of these, right? 2 ears and one of these for a big reason. I don't always follow that. I use this a lot, but to listen and absorb what people are doing and talk about that. If you talk with somebody for a while and develop that relationship, pretty soon you're going to learn a lot of stuff, right? You're going to learn what they love, but you're also going to learn what they hate. You're going to learn where their passions, but you're also going to learn what those pains are. And if you have something that can help them, they're going to be a lot more receptive when you go in with a genuine interest of understanding, oh, this is yours. If I heard you correctly, this is your one problem. If I can solve that problem for you, would that be a help? Of course, it's going to be a help. Nobody loves to have problems. And I think that's part of that. And when you start doing that for a lot of people, which we've done over the years, guys, all of a sudden people start saying, you know who you need to meet, or you know who you need to talk to, or let me introduce you to so-and-so, or let me share some information. And I think this is that strong component within the application that helps even facilitate that. So even though we might be out there marketing ourselves, every time we share information, the platform's going to empower that person with the ability to reshare it, to get it out to somebody else. And Kathy all too often is actually referring somebody else. Oh, you know who you need to meet? You need to meet my friend Danielle. Let me grab her information and get it over to you. And unlike most people who aren't carrying around a giant stack of business cards of everybody they know, Kathy's got her phone. She pulls it up. She pulls the shuffle platform out, and she fires off somebody's shuffle card to introduce and make a new connection. Now she's a connector. It's really powerful.
Yeah. She's an influencer too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really, everything that you guys are describing, like, using these instead of having 2 of these and having 1 of these. When you really influence people is when you listen first and then you respond and not react or not start the conversation. But when you truly are influencing people, it's because you've listened to them. It's because you've understood what's coming up for them, what their problems are, and what would be helpful for them for their next steps. To me, that's like one of the most powerful parts of being an influencer, and it's usually seen a different way. But I think the most powerful influencers are the ones that listen first. So, Kathy, whether or not she knows she's doing it, she's an influencer.
I think in building the rapport, it's sort of shifting that listening element of listening to learn instead of listening to reply.
Yeah.
There's so much that's happening out there on listening to reply that it just needs to shift. You've got to build that rapport, that know, that like, that trust. Yeah. And to ER's point, being able to share what you know. The information that like right now, a really hot thing happening is sell what you know, right? Sell courses, sell masterminds. That this industry, just that itself, is going to be what are they saying, a $1 trillion industry by 2028.
Yep.
And to say, hey, in a roundabout way, we have a platform that allows you to share, sell what you know through the platform. In the fact of being a $1 trillion industry, that allows other people that might have influence, or if they don't think they have influence, I guarantee you all have influence, but it allows you to at least take a look at a platform that is designed to help you share. That's it. All you have to do is, well, what do I need to share? Well, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What do you,
Mhm.
what are your products that you have or you're excited about? We had a guy on the other day that pulled a pillow out from underneath himself sitting on a chair, and it was an Amazon, something he purchased on Amazon. He is basically being an affiliate or a referral partner of that
Mhm.
pillow. People,
Mhm.
they like to share their positive experiences, and we really, we hear it every day, the positive experiences that people are having through sharing on the LFI platform in the seamless way of doing this. It's almost like you see a little kid seeing fireworks for the first time, their eyes light up, hopefully
Mhm.
they don't start crying, but their
Mhm.
eyes light up and they see, this is almost magic of
Mhm.
how people are now sharing what they know, sharing
Mhm.
what they believe in a way that is done digitally.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. Um, and I had a thought, but it escaped me. So, ER, you want to piggyback off of that?
Yeah, I think going along with what we've been talking about, one of the things that you mentioned is showing a genuine interest, right? That's listening more than we talk, and follow
Mhm.
up. And a lot of people miss the fact that the average sale, the average transaction is happening between the fifth and the 12th follow up, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, it's a commodity, and somebody's just going to be shopping the internet for whatever the product or service is. So they're just as much buying that product or service or brand as they're
Mhm.
buying you. And I think
Yeah.
that really is the marketing yourself meets marketing in a business type of thing, where it's they know, like, and trust you. And even to some cases, that might mean paying a premium over what they could find online because they like you, because they
Mhm.
trust you, because they understand you. And a lot of people would sell themselves short saying, look, I'm not an influencer. I don't have influence over a giant market. There aren't 5 trillion people following me type of
Yeah.
thing. But the
Yeah.
reality is we all have influence over a group of people, even if it's at the micro or nano level. And
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful when we plug into that. We make recommendations and referrals, and we market all the time when we do things that we enjoy, like Guy is saying. If I
Yeah.
go eat at a great restaurant, do you know how many times I've told people about this amazing Mexican restaurant in our community over here, and people are like,
Mhm.
oh, once they follow that lead and they go there, they become raving fans as well. And
Mhm.
it's like, I don't have to be the complete expert, know
Mhm.
all about everything. I just need to know a little bit more than the people who are looking to me for guidance. I just need to be 2, 3, even 1 step ahead,
Mhm.
because the challenge for most people, whether they're buying something, whether they're trying to do something, whether it's a product or service, is never having done it before.
Yeah.
It's that fear that comes along with, I know I need to solve this problem, but I've never done it before, and I think it's going to be insurmountable.
Mhm.
And yet you've done it. Danielle, what's going on. Can you help me? And then when Danielle says, yeah, I've done that before, it's not as hard or as complicated or crazy as you think, and I can help you accomplish it. Oh my gosh, what a relief. Thank you for that help. They're ready to lean into
Mhm.
those types of things. I think that all goes along with having a genuine interest in serving your customers and helping them
Mhm.
and solving those problems, and then be willing to follow up. We talk about, like, sort of a 3 area focus, right? The first area in your business is generating leads. We call it lead generation. You've got to get out there, get the word out, and you've got to find people who are interested. And most of us have that, even at that nano scale, right? We've got people who are interested in what we have to say.
Mhm.
And you have this process that we call hello to
Mhm.
enrollment, right? It's every
Mhm.
step of interaction that happens along the way, from the first time they hear about you or what you have to say or what you have to offer, to the moment they make an informed buying decision. For a lot of
Mhm.
people, they want the one and done. I want to give you one little piece to go buy something, and you're going to buy, and everybody's going to
Mhm.
do it. But that's
Mhm.
a conflict with those 5 to 12 interactions. And I think the last piece that a lot of people we see miss out on, and it comes back to the relationship,
Mhm.
is the post-enrollment side. Once somebody is your customer, is
Mhm.
truly when the work begins. Not getting the
Mhm.
customer, not that hello to enrollment. That's part of your process or your system or what you're doing. After they
Mm-hmm.
become a customer, you want to retain them for life, right? We want to maximize their basket size. We want to keep them as lifelong customers. We want to
Mm-hmm.
serve them, and we want to turn
Mm-hmm.
them into brand champions so they turn around and they bring in that next group of customers. That's the power of word of
Mm-hmm.
mouth. That's the
Yeah.
power of empowering somebody who knows, likes, and trusts you enough to make a purchase to turn around and help you find the next customer.
Yeah, so you guys can see why it's so important to learn how to market yourself
Yeah.
in these scenarios. And then we're bringing in the other aspect of like the sales pipeline where it takes like 5 to 12. And there are some industries where it takes 20 interactions. I mean,
Absolutely.
it just depends on the type of buyers, and we all have different buying personas, and we'll do that another time. We'll talk about that one because that's a really interesting topic I love talking about too. So here's kind of where we're gonna move into this before we close out because I think it's really important. But when you're an influencer, and regardless if you see yourself as an influencer, if you're actually providing information or even just responding to people and they're taking action based on your response or your suggestions, you're an influencer. Like that, if I was to sum it up, if people take action based on what you say, your suggestions, you've influenced them. You've influenced them. So you're an influencer. So marketing yourself is really important because they're going to take they may take your word for it, or they may hear what you're saying and it makes sense. And so that's marketing yourself beforehand. But then if you're going to partner with a brand, so if you're an influencer, if you're a coach and you're going to partner with a brand, it could be for ambassadorship, it could be for influencer marketing, it could be for sponsorship. It's all very similar. um you are marketing yourself as an influencer, but you're also marketing that company and that product. So this is kind of what we've been talking about. And what makes the most sense is not just say, hey, this is great, hey, go check out this shuffle, or this, hey, this tap card's really cool. um okay, why am I supposed to take your word for it? If I'm an audience member, I'm like, okay, why, what's it going to do for me? And it's going to take more than just you telling me it's really cool. Look at this thing. I mean, I may go check it out just because it does look cool. But but if you really want people to keep trusting you as an influencer and to take action on what you're saying, you got to become a product of the product.
Right.
You've got to understand it. You've got to, if you're partnering with a brand, really partner with them, really understand the products, really understand the problems that your following has and that they're coming to you for as an influencer or as somebody who they trust, and help them solve it by understanding what it is that you're putting out there. It's a big responsibility to do it this way. And this is exactly what the world needs. They need more people who are willing and happy and curious to take on responsibilities like this. And so I'm seeing it done a lot of great ways. This is something that we're teaching. What are some of the other ways that you guys have seen this done really, really well, where people are partnering with brands, and they're becoming a product of the product, and then they're sharing it and influencing that way?
I mean, I think companies are looking to do this all across the board. So for any
Yeah.
influencer out there, as long as there's an alignment with what you do and what you speak to and the
Mm-hmm.
products and services of the companies that you partner with,
Mm-hmm.
there's a great opportunity there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? It's looking at who is my audience and how am I providing value to them? And are there complementary businesses out there that I can partner with or get sponsorship with or join? And then I can help them and in turn help myself, right?
Right.
From an influencer perspective, there's an aspect of monetization. We all have a network, we all have influence. And if you have, what I would refer to as the list back in the old marketing days, and you get information in front of that list, there's stuff that can be yielded out of that, especially to your point, when you're in direct alignment with the products and services of the brands that you're in partnership with. So I see it across the board all the time, Danielle. If it's health and fitness, then pick and choose your health and fitness services and stuff like that. If it's business, which is the industry that we're in entrepreneurship, business, sales, marketing, everything from the technical or technology aspect to facilitate some of that. So if that's where your audience is looking for guidance, you're going to see a big win there. I also think the point you made cannot be overstated. And it's being a product of the product. It's coming in. If you are a fitness influencer and you're marketing the shake weights and you're not the person out there shaking it every day, people are gonna understand that. People are gonna read into that. But if you're the person who says, look, I've been handing out 2,500 business cards a year for the last decade, and I agree, I've only seen a 2% uptick. And then I took this product right here, this app product, and I've tapped 100 people's phones, and it's resulted in more business than 2,500 business cards. Your audience is going to listen to that because they have similar problems to what you have. You're the guide now. You've experienced it. You've gone through the paces, and you're just showing people the process and the benefit. And they're looking to you for that guidance and that expertise in a way.
Yeah.
To add to that, I think where we see it is the people that are product of the products.
Yeah.
They're it's basically, there's 4 things you need to be able to do to make it real in your life. As being a product of a product, you need to have some immersion. You need to jump in. You need to learn. You need to learn the process and the system. We've got a process and a system, and learning and educating yourself, finding the support, that's all available. And this is where we see it happening, not only in our community, but in other communities. People are immersing themselves into it. Then they start the repetition. You had mentioned it 5 times, saying someone's name to have it locked in. Like, you have to make it real. The repetition, you have to make it real. I'm going to be tapping my card. I'm going to be tapping my card. I'm going to be sending it via direct message, instant message, whatever. I'm going to be sharing. Continue sharing it, and you have to just continue to do it over and over and over. Okay. Then the third element is you're implementing it. Like, we have basically internal courses. We know what results can be. There's events that people go to in other businesses, but if they're not going to implement, if they're going to walk out of a 3-day seminar and they don't implement, it's not going to become real. So you have to implement it, or it's going to fade away. And then it's almost the fourth would be basically something like mastery. Right? It's going to be a journey. So in your journey, in whatever you're marketing or you're referring out there or talking about, and in order to earn a commission, you have to do it once. Then you have to do it again. And then you have to consistently do it. Right? And then at that point, when you're consistently influencing, sharing, it becomes your life. It becomes your habits, and you then have a real business.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a big difference when you're consistent. So I'm going to piggyback off of the examples you guys gave, because I want to have a fun one here. You guys will learn that I like silly stuff. But there's there's an influencer on YouTube, and my daughters watch him and they love him. FGTV. I don't know if you guys have ever. The girls love, and I think he's local. I think he's here in the Carolinas, and either in South or North Carolina. And so he brought in a TikTok influencer, and you know that this guy's been sponsored by a waxing product. You guys are going to see where I'm going to go here. This guy's really, really hairy. And so the whole thing is that they bring him onto their YouTube so that he can get more TikTok followers, and they can bring TikTok followers over to YouTube. And he has to answer questions, like hard questions, but this dude studied. He did not want what was going to happen if he answered them wrong. And sure enough, what happens when he answers wrong is that wax that he's got sponsored by, and it's really pretty. It's gold, like golden shimmery. He gets a part of him, like, and yes, it was just top up wax, but I mean, dude was like hairy. It was like, dude, take your sweater off. Like, that was like how hairy he was. But I tell you what, while they were waxing him and how painful it looked, they were having a good time doing it. My thought in my head was like, that's a really good wax, man. It just tore off all of that hair. There's nothing left. I'm like, that would actually be a really good product to have if you were, if that's what your job was waxing. But he's a product of the product, maybe reluctantly, but it really did make an impression. And I remember, I will remember that wax. If anybody asks me what wax should I get, I'm like, oh, you should get this one because of this video. But it's a funny example. It's not business, but I wanted to play with it a little bit because there's so many different ones of what it means to be a product of the product.
I mean, just to play on that, Danielle, because I've seen some fun ones. There was a time, and Guy, I bought a blender. Okay, the reason why I bought this blender is because I saw a video of them taking a broomstick and sticking it in the top of the blender and it turning it into sawdust. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to make a shake and this thing can blend up a broomstick, you know, and then the next video they're throwing in a phone and like it just could blend anything. And I think the series was called Will It Blend? But the key was this is the blender if you want to blend anything. And so I think being the product of the product and putting it into practice is so critical. I think there's a lot of people who love the idea of something, right? And there's a difference between loving the idea and putting something into practice. The old one I heard is like, oh, I really love yoga. You know, I've got the mat, I've got the outfit, I've got all this stuff. Oh, great. How often do you do yoga? Oh, I don't really practice it. I just love the idea of it, you know? So I think with anything that we want to be successful at, like Guy talked about, and getting up to that mastery. And if you've ever read any of Malcolm Gladwell's stuff, 10,000 hours, sort of the mastery level of things, it's really putting in the time and the work on those things and being committed to that process and building over time, you know?
Yeah. I love that example. So we gave you guys a couple ones. They're not all just business because, you know, there's a lot of ways to be a product of the product, which is we love the creativity. And that's one of the reasons why I love your guys' product suite. Actually, your product suite, you got a couple products, but I'm able to be really creative with it and do different things and do trainings. And I love doing that. And I love exploring all the possibilities. And I'm not even done yet. And I've been in the Shuffle app quite a bit, both on my phone and on my computer. So any of you guys that are liking what we're saying and, you know, light bulb's gone off and you're like, I guess I am an influencer, or I guess I am a creator. I hadn't thought about it that way. Then we're going to be dropping a link here for you guys to go ahead and partner with LFI and Influence Builder, because I'm going to be definitely in there and teaching you guys some of the ways that we've been able to use the app and some of the fast start quick ways that you can get going on it and how you can network and share it. But you guys are fully supported in this. So we invite you guys to come and play with us. I'm not sure how you're going to top the blender when it comes to being a product of the product or the waxing one, but we definitely want to see. We definitely want to see what you can do. And there is room for videos on the Shuffle application. You can actually put videos if you want to do that for a virtual business card and all that good stuff. So we're going to drop that for you. Everybody that's in the group, we will send you an email with the link to go ahead and apply. And we're campaigning. We're going to start putting out campaigns and have some fun with it, guys. Come in and join us. And yes, we're talking about business. Yes, we're talking about networking. And maybe you guys are sweating really uncomfortable. Like, I got to talk to people. Yes, you want to talk to people. Yes, you do. It's time. It's time if you've been hiding. But yeah, come and play, come and learn more. And of course, ask any questions here in the chat section, the messaging section right below the video. So we invite y'all in. We invite you all in. Anything you want to leave us with? Yeah.
You know, I think this was sort of ER in my calling, from being able to, you know, our servant mentalities or what we wanted to be able to give back in life, because we always believe you get what you get, like at that time, but so many people want more.
Yeah.
And so if now's the time that you want more, you can do more, you can be more, you have to do more in order to get more. And our platform, our suite, allows you to share your message about what you like. There are unlimited amount of niches that I know that are utilizing the application to share what those individuals love. And there might be someone else out there that loves the chocolate cupcakes. I'm sharing my information on why I love them and the recipe that I have or something of that sort. And there's other people out there looking for that one. It provides you a place where you can have influence to the cupcake lovers, to whatever someone loves. But you know, that's where we want to be able to provide something for people who want more. And if you want more, we encourage you to join in. Like we love doing this. We know of other individuals and other companies out there that will sell you tens of thousands of dollars in systems and in processes, in courses, and they're just sort of giving you a process that you should follow. We're giving you a process, but we're also providing implementation ideas or ways for you to implement. And that's where it comes in back to you. In order to get more, you have to do more. You have to share. You have to do that 4-letter word that not everyone likes is work, WORK. It takes some work, but you all have influence and you can all be a part of something bigger. And how are we getting this out? It's all word of mouth.
That's right. That's right. All right.
But you good?
I'm good. I just want to thank everybody for giving us a little bit of their time today and invite you to join us. We've had a ton of fun right now. And this is what work should be, right, Guy? Even though it's hard and we're doing it, it's fun. It's fun. And inviting you guys to join and come alongside us and be a part of this movement that we're working on. That's our mission. We want to take this technology to the world, right? And we're looking for influencers to help us spread the word. And ultimately do it by showing us how they're using the technology and how they're leveraging the technology to make an impact in their own life. People are going to follow your lead. They're going to look to you for guidance, and you truly have more influence than you give yourself credit for. So if this is something that you think would be good for you, again, all three of us, we want to invite you to join us. Plug into the community. We're going to have a ton of fun, and we can't wait to hear how you leverage Shuffle and Tap.
Very nice. All right, everybody. So you heard it. So we're going to give you the link. If you don't see it in the header above for our people in the replay. So come on in and let's have some fun. Let's play and work at the same time because it can go together. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you two here next week, and then everybody else, we'll see you in another week. Bye for now.